In the stillness of the night, the moon casts its ghostly glow upon the earth. There lies a place forgotten by time, abandoned by life. Those who know of its existence dare not venture near, speaking its name only in hushed tones, if at all. As I make my way through the overgrown streets, the echoes of the past seem to linger in the air. Shadows dance in the moonlight. They twist into grotesque shapes that seem to mock me. I step cautiously over broken pavement and crumbling bricks. I am alert to any sign of life, or maybe something more sinister. The wind whispers through the skeletal remains of trees. As I continue my journey, I come upon a dilapidated mansion, its once grand facade now marred by time and neglect. Someone shattered the windows. Their jagged edges glint in the moonlight like teeth in a wicked grin. Inside, the air is thick with dust and the musty scent of decay. Furniture lies in disarray, as if the occupants fled in haste, leaving behind all they owned. Cobwebs stretch across every surface. They are like gossamer threads, trapping the memories of a time long past. I can hear whispers echoing through the halls. They are faint and indistinct, like the remains of a long-forgotten conversation. My heart pounds in my chest. I'm going deeper into the mansion. Some unseen force draws me forward. In the darkness, I stumble upon a staircase, its steps worn smooth by the passage of countless feet. With trembling hands, I reach out to grasp the railing. At the top of the stairs, I find myself in a vast chamber, its walls lined with shelves upon shelves of ancient tomes. The air is heavy with the smell of old parchment. I can feel the weight of knowledge pressing on me like a physical presence. The mansion's corridors seem to stretch forever. Each turn led me deeper into its maze. The walls bore the scars of time, as if the very essence of the place was being slowly consumed by decay. With each step, I felt the weight of the mansion's history. It pressed down upon me like a heavy burden. It threatened to crush my spirit. I reached a grand hall, its vaulted ceiling disappearing into darkness high above. Moonlight filtered through stained glass windows. But even in this beauty, there was an underlying dread that gnawed at me. As I crossed the hall, a sound echoed through the stillness. It was a faint scraping noise from the very walls. I froze in place, my heart pounding in my chest as I strained to listen. Then, from the darkness, a figure emerged. Its form was twisted and contorted like a creature from a nightmare. It moved with an unnatural grace, its eyes gleaming with malevolence as it fixed its gaze upon me. I tried to flee, to escape the clutches of this unholy presence, but it was as if I were rooted to the spot. My limbs refused to obey me, leaving me at the mercy of whatever dark force held sway in this accursed place. The figure drew closer, its footsteps echoing like the tolling of a funeral bell. I could feel its cold breath on my skin. It sent shivers down my spine. It reached out with clawed hands to claim me. Then, just as hope seemed lost, a voice echoed through the darkness. It was filled with a strength and resolve that I had not known I had. With a cry of defiance, I broke free from the figure's grasp. I fled into the night as fast as my legs could move. I stumbled out into the cool night air. I looked back at the mansion looming in the distance. It was a dark silhouette against the moonlit sky. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, a haunting reminder of the secrets buried beneath the mansion's facade. Each step felt like a betrayal, echoing through the desolate grounds as though the very earth itself recoiled from my presence. As I reached the edge of the sprawling estate, a chill ran down my spine, raising the fine hairs on the back of my neck. It was as though the mansion itself watched me with a silent, sinister gaze, its windows like eyes peering into the depths of my soul. I couldn't shake the feeling that something lingered behind, lurking in the darkness, waiting to be unleashed. The sun dipped below the horizon. It cast long shadows across the old farmhouse. I couldn't shake the memories that flooded my mind. This place was once vibrant with my family's laughter and the warmth of home. Now it stood in eerie silence, its old walls whispering tales of the past. Tales of a presence that lingered, unseen but deeply felt. Gathering my friends, I led them down the winding path that led to the farmhouse. The flames danced merrily in the barbecue pit. They cast a warm, flickering light that lit our faces. We grilled juicy steaks and marinated chicken skewers. The tasty smell mixed with the cool evening air. It teased our senses and stirred our appetites. The fire crackled. Meat sizzled on the grill. Laughter bubbled up like a spring. It filled the farmhouse with joyful echoes. My friends eagerly shared their own stories. Their voices blended with the crickets and the leaves rustling in the breeze. We played games beneath the twinkling stars. Our shouts of joy mixed with the soft music from a speaker. We forgot the cares of the outside world. We reveled in the simple joys of good food, good company, and the enchanting night. Darkness fell upon us like a velvety cloak. We gathered around the fire with marshmallows on sticks, ready to toast them to gold. People whispered ghost stories in hushed tones. The flickering flames cast eerie shadows. They danced along the walls of the farmhouse. But we laughed and joked, yet a sense of unease lingered in the air. It was a subtle reminder of the stories I had heard as a child. Yet I pushed aside my fears. I determined to enjoy every moment of this night with my friends. I knew that memories like these were precious and fleeting. The night wore on and the flames of the fire began to flicker and fade. A sense of unease settled over me like a shroud. It was then that we heard it, a sound so bone-chillingly sinister that it froze the blood in our veins. A low guttural moan that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the earth. My heart pounded. It was in my chest. I exchanged nervous glances with my friends. We made our way towards the source of the sound. We descended into the dark basement. Each step echoed in the silence like a death knell. And then we saw a figure shrouded in shadows. As the ghostly figure loomed before us, a cold dread gripped my heart like icy fingers. The air grew thick with an oppressive silence. Only the faint rustle of leaves and the sound of our quickened breath broke the silence. My friends stood frozen. Their faces were pale with fear. They too saw the ghostly apparition. It had come from the depths of the farmhouse. I could feel its gaze on me. Its eyes burned with an otherworldly intensity that seemed to pierce reality. Time slowed to a crawl. The ghost raised its ethereal hand. Its fingers curled into a claw-like shape as if ready to strike. Suddenly, the ghost let out a guttural moan. The moan echoed through the dank basement. It lunged forward, its form shifting and twisting. This was a grotesque display of spectral power. I watched in horror. It reached out with ghostly hands. Its fingers stretched unnaturally. They seemed to seek to ensnare us. One by one, my friends fell to the ghost's relentless attack. The walls echoed with their screams of terror as its chilling embrace enveloped them. I could do nothing but stand by. My mind was a whirlwind of fear and confusion as I witnessed the nightmare. And then, with a final blood-curdling shriek, the ghost vanished into the darkness. It left behind only the lingering echo of its evil laughter. We were left shaken and broken. Our evening, which was once carefree, got ruined. The cause was the horrifying truth about the haunted farmhouse's past. We stumbled out of the basement into the cool night air. I knew that we would never forget the terror we had felt inside those walls. The ghost of the farmhouse had made its presence known, and its memory would haunt us for the rest of our days. In my first year at Greenfield High, everything felt new and kinda shaky. I was hoping to fit in with the other kids. Then I met Rick, who was super popular and always had his buddies around. He asked me to hang out after school, promising it would be fun. I was excited to have friends and do something cool, so I said yes. But I had no clue it would turn out to be a really bad situation. I arrived at the agreed-upon location. It was an abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. A wave of unease washed over me. The decrepit building loomed ominously, its broken windows gaping like dark, vacant eyes. Yet Rick and his friends seemed unfazed. Their laughter echoed through the empty halls. I grew apprehensive as Rick revealed his plan. He intended to summon spirits using an old, tattered book from his jacket. I watched Rick with fear and curiosity. He began the ritual, and his voice echoed unnaturally in the large space. The air thickened. The wind outside howled mournfully. It was as if warning us of danger. Then, the whispers began, a faint, haunting sound that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the factory. The others seemed unaware or indifferent to the ghostly murmurs. But for me, they sparked a primal instinct to flee. Yet, I remained, held captive by a potent mixture of fear and the fear of exclusion. As Rick continued the chant, the air crackled with an otherworldly energy. The shadows danced with evil. With each word, the heavy air got worse. It suffocated me. A sense of impending doom settled over me like a shroud, but still, I couldn't bring myself to leave. The flames of the fire leaped and danced as if possessed by a sinister force. Amidst the chaos, I felt a cold touch upon my hand. It was a spectral hand reaching out from the shadows. It sought to ensnare me in its icy grasp. With a strangled cry, I recoiled, my heart hammered in my chest as I scrambled away from the encroaching darkness. But Rick seemed unfazed by the horror. He pressed on, his eyes full of fervor. His laughter rang out, mirthless and chilling, as if he reveled in the madness engulfing us. It was then that I realized the depth of our folly, the perilous precipice upon which we teetered. I was desperate to escape the unfolding nightmare. I summoned all my courage and resolve, breaking free from the suffocating grasp of fear. My limbs trembled and my heart pounded. I fled the accursed factory, leaving the haunting echoes of that fateful night. In the days that followed, the memories of our doomed meeting plagued me. Ghostly whispers tormented my mind. Sleep was rare. Nightmares about that ghostly encounter haunted every moment of my rest. I couldn't shake the specter of that harrowing night. I resolved to confront Rick, seeking answers and an end to the nightmare that had trapped us both. Then, I learned our true folly. It was the Pandora's box we had opened in our quest for friends and fun. Rick and I returned to the abandoned factory together. We shared a determination to defeat the shadows of our past and drove ourselves forward. We ventured into the heart of darkness again. We were cautious, but resolved and hopeful. We stood in the old factory. A sense of foreboding descended on us. The weight of our actions bore down on us like a heavy coat. Yet the tension was palpable. Rick produced the old tome again. Its weathered pages whispered long-forgotten secrets. We embarked on a desperate gambit. We sought to please the restless spirits that haunted the shadows of the factory. With each spell, the air crackled with magic. Reality itself quivered in response to our pleas. The spirits woke up from their slumber. They stirred with a restless hunger. Their voices were a mix of anguish and longing. But Rick did not feel discouraged. A spectral chorus assailed us. But he pressed on with resolve. Each word spoken calmed the darkness. It lifted the heavy atmosphere. Then, in a moment of deep stillness, the voices fell silent. Their ghostly whispers faded into the air. In their wake, a sense of peace descended upon us, the shadows receding like a tide ebbing from the shore. We waited with bated breath. Rick and I exchanged a wary glance. It silently acknowledged the precarious balance we had achieved. The specter of that fateful night would haunt us forever. But we had beaten the darkness that threatened to consume. We emerged from the abandoned factory. The dawn light bathed us. A sense of relief washed over us. It was a brief break from the horrors that had plagued us. The scars of our ordeal would linger, but we walked away with new strength and shared triumph over the darkness that had once threatened to engulf us, united us.